chapter 15. Man. Well, Eliphaz, he's bearing down again. He's bearing down again. And you ever felt like when you're going through something and everything, and it seems like somebody done ridiculed you not too long ago about it, and then wasn't long after that they come back and done it again. And so we still here, we still standing, we still victorious, we still redeemed, we still men and women of God, we still praising and worshiping and glorifying Jesus and everything. The devil don't like it. And the devil didn't like Job. Not at all. Job chapter 15. There'll be some places in here I'm going to need somebody's help. Then answered Eliphaz the Temanite and said, should a wise man utter vain knowledge and fill his belly with the east wind? Remember now, this dude thinks he thinks he's a spiritual man. He thinks he has got it all. Because, see, he had a dream and a vision, and he wants to be heard. He wants to tell Job everything, what's wrong with him. And he wants to tell Job that this is what you got to do. And everything. I've been there a time or two in my lifetime.
Oh, yeah.
And
Brother Pinky, is he not repeating some of the words that maybe Job told him the other day?
may have.
I think he says, you utter out words you don't even know.
Yeah. Yep. That his talking is empty. You know, I've been called a windbag before. If you've ever tried to witness and you ever been preached any, somebody gonna call you a windbag.
Oh, yeah.
You ain't nothing but no windbag. That's all you are. Yeah. You just want to. You ain't the only one.
Hey, thank you, Jesus.
I remember one morning I got in the pulpit to preach when I was pastoring before, and lady stood up in the back, looked at me, and held her hands up, started clipping her fingernails, just looking at me. I'm like, looky here. I said, that's all right, sister. You get through, sit on down, we'll have a good time. So I know what a little bit about that ridicule is about. He said, should a wise man utter vain knowledge and his belly filled with east wind? Should he reason with unprofitable talk, or with speeches wherewith he can do no good? He said, you reason with useless words. Job, he said, Job can't get ahead, can he?
Yeah, we hear these words, what these men said, we think we know.
Yeah. Yeah, they think.
God heard every word Job said.
Every single word.
He had something to say to them, these men.
Mm-hmm. Yea, thou castest all fear and restraineth prayer before God. Yeah. And it also can be interpreted, you don't even have no respect for God. You know. So he just keeps coming at him. For thy mouth uttereth thine iniquity, and thou choosest the tongue of the crafty. Yeah, he's telling me your sin, Job, causing you to talk this way. You wouldn't talk this way if you ain't done something wrong. Yeah, there's got to be something wrong, or because you talking in the wrong direction.
I read a good one this week that said, if you're talking about me, pray for me so I'll be as perfect as you are.
Well, you're going to have to pray for me, Ron. Thine own mouth condemneth thee, and not I. Yea, thine own lips testify against thee. He's telling Job, your own mouth has already condemned you. And not him. A lot of folks, when they got this self-righteous attitude, that's what they'll come at you with. You've already condemned your own self. You've already testified of your iniquity and your sin. But yet they don't see no wrong in what they do. Art thou the first man that was born? Or wast thou made before the hills? He wants to know, he's asking Job if he thinks he's the first human born. And if he was, he's older than the hills.
Hold on, brother. You got to go back over there where God spoke to Job. He told him this too. Now, where were you when I did?
Yeah. But I don't think Job was the first man, though. But but Job was an upright man. Now there's something that I've learned from Brother Nicholson that I won't never forget. Just let them talk. God will be your defender. You just let them talk. And that's what Job is doing here. And the response to that is about that man called him after all these years and apologizing to him. So God will defend his people. Hast thou heard the secret of God? And doest thou restrain wisdom to thyself? Did you hear the plans of God? Or do you think you're the only one that's got wisdom? I mean, that guy, he's after him. He's after him. And old Job will answer later on. He'll answer later on again. Next week's lesson, Job fitting to answer again. And I love it when Job answers. He just sits there and listens and takes it. Then when his time comes, he lets them have it. What knowest thou that we know not? What understandest thou which is not in us? Do you have, he said, Job, you got discernment that we don't have? Or do you think you're intelligent and we're not? I mean, what? And how Joe sit there and didn't say a word to him is beyond me. He had great self-control.
I just wonder what tone of voice.
Sometimes that's best. I had to do it once. I know.
I mean, yeah, the tone of voice he had. I can just picture this guy having this arrogant tone about him.
Down to it.
Right. Have you ever been talked down to?
Oh,
I have.
yeah.
I've been talked down to quite a bit. Talk is cheap. with us are both the gray-headed and the very aged men, much elder than thy father. Mm-hmm. Yep. No.
How old was Job here?
I don't know.
About 80. You guess you can do that? Like it does itself.
He's on up there. Well, I'm gonna tell you, if gray hair make you have all wisdom, I'd be pretty good. Yeah, Ronnie really know a lot.
It don't work on me.
And the consolations of God, small with thee, is there any secret thing with thee? Has God spoken to you alone?
Yes, he has.
Yes, he has.
Oh, he'll find out later on. Yeah, God has talked to this man.
There was a secret with Job that they did not know.
Yep. Why doeth thy heart carry thee away? And what do thy eyes wink at? He thinks Job lost his mind. Yep. Now, I know sometimes y'all think I'm off my rocker. And sometimes I may think y'all off y'all rocker. But nevertheless, our thinking one of those off our rockers all in fun and picking and punching, but this guy's serious. Yeah. Why doeth thine heart carry thee away? And what do thy eyes wink at? That thou turnest thy spirit against God? And lettest such words go out of thy mouth? Yep. He has got to this thing. He thinks Job has gotten rebellious in the state that he's in. He don't think Job is all there no more. He just don't think Job has quite got what it takes any longer. He thinks Job is this. How many of you have had friends that has kind of talked to you like that?
I thought they were friends.
Well, I've had a few. But that doesn't matter as long as God knows I'm all right. What is man that he should be clean? And he which is born of woman that he should be righteous? He's telling Job, you've done some awful stuff. You must go ahead and confess, or you wouldn't be in this state. You won't be going through this. So won't you go ahead and confess of your awful sins and iniquities, and everything will be all right with you.
Oh, if I hold my peace and let God fight my battle. Oh, that's hard to do.
Yep. I read something about that today. Behold, he putteth no trust in his saints. Yea, the heavens are not clean in his sight. Somebody help me here. What is he saying? Anybody else?
A lot of times we look at our own selves to judge others. Surely Pinky's done as bad as I have.
Probably worse.
So, so therefore, I know I can't justly condemn anyone because I'm not worthy. But here's Job. Job's made the point clear that he's not done anything to bring this upon him. And we've also, at the same time, we've seen Job question God, why am I going through this? Why have I done this? You know, he's questioning, he's wondering why and what's going on. But yet, undoubtedly, God revealed to him. You know, he's let him search his own self. But here's Eliphaz, there's got to be some reason you're going through. We all do this.
Mm-hmm.
Pinky goes out here and has all kinds of troubles. His truck breaks down, can't fix it. He had to do something, y'all. You know,
Yeah.
God don't just put stuff on you just because, because He wants to. That's just not the way God works. That's how we look at things, right? We can't get away from that. We've got the same mentality. So here, Job, you can't be righteous. Nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can't take away what God said in the beginning of it. I can't, J. Vernon McGee may say Job was guilty of the sin of pride. I ain't found it written here yet.
I ain't either.
God didn't say he was guilty of pride.
Mm.
And even at the end of it, what do we do? Sure, we want to find fault in Job because there's fault in me. I ain't been perfect.
Ain't none of us.
When Jesus said, you think them 18 at the Tower of Siloam fell with sinners above Moses? No. They just did the wrong way.
But you'd be. Go ahead, Ron.
Well, something bad happened. I'm simple-minded. If something bad happens to you, I think the devil done it. Something good happens to you, I think God done it. It's good news, but I may not be right.
But I've had people ask me what did I do to cause me to be in the shape I'm in.
You did? Lord, yeah. I think you heard a lot, man.
Oh, I've heard a lot of it.
Well, you're in Job's shoes.
Mm-hmm. We also had a guy come in here to visit church one time that stood up to testify and said he just wanted to come by because he didn't think I was as bad as everybody said I was. I hope he never has to find out. But see, I kind of, as I'm going through this slowly now, Tim, instead of just going through it slowly, I'm seeing some things that I'm like, okay. But God, at the end of this book, I got some hope here.
Read the last chapter.
I got some hope here. Verse 16, how much more abominable and filthy is man which drinketh iniquity like water.
Well, we were all that way. We were born in sin. And everything about us was iniquity against God.
Mm-hmm.
But Job had found a way that he was a just and an upright man. There was no fault in that man. But he was trying to accuse him for everything else. But he just stayed and listened. Didn't say a word. But he had a chance. He will have a chance next week.
Oh, yeah. And I like this next verse. I've been told this a lot over the years. I will shew thee, hear me, and that which I have seen I will declare. Pay attention to what I tell you, Job. Listen, and I will instruct you. It ain't been that many years ago I was told that by a guy. I'm still standing and he's not.
That's not my anointing.
Not saying that I'm anything. And you'd be surprised what people has called me and told me that God said, that God told them to call me and tell me this and tell me that. You know, I want to tell you something.
It might have been his God, but it wasn't the God.
I'll listen. But if God ain't told me about it, and a lot of things that people has told me that nobody know but me and God, God had already talked to me about it. And sometimes it hurt my feelings.
We're all human.
Verse 18. Which wise men have told from their fathers and have not hid it. Wise men don't hide things, Job. They keep it out in open, keep it out front. Part of wisdom, part of godly wisdom is when to know when to speak and when not to speak. That's part of godly wisdom. Verse 19. Unto whom alone the earth was given, and no stranger passeth among them. Somebody help me there. A stranger will not enter.
You always have strangers or sinners among you, wherever you go, whatever you do. You have them to contend with.
The wicked man travaileth with pain all his days.
Don't you know you're wicked? That's why you suffer like yours.
And the number of the years is hidden to the oppressor.
Well, we have Psalm written, why does the heathen man so this verse is not true, is it? All the wicked don't get punished.
No. I know some that hadn't.
You don't know what goes through their mind.
A dreadful sound is in his ears. In prosperity, the destroyer shall come upon him.
He said, but you're wicked and you're sinful, and that's why you suffer like you are. You might as well come clean and test and tell us what you've done.
Yeah.
You have to sin somewhere.
But you know, Job saying, well, I can just hear him thinking, I thought this dude was my friend. But he got on me here a while back, now he's on me again. You know.
Well, we talk about the patience of Job. You know. Proverbial saying, the patience of Job. He sure had got a lot of good patience, all right.
I'm telling you. Man, I tell you what, one time, I hadn't been saved about a year and I got to praying for patience.
Uh-oh.
I found,
Why they tell you not to pray for
I sure did. I sure did. And I said, I'll never make that mistake again. Everything around the house tore up. Even the cars tore up. And everything. And I'm like, I actually broke on my horse trailer. I mean, everything was going crazy. And I was like, So I was telling a guy, one of the older gentlemen at the church about it. He said, you've been praying for patience, ain't you? I said, yeah, how'd you know? He said, Because that's the only reason everything happened to you that way.
God teaches you patience.
Yeah. He teaches you to wait upon the Lord.
You pray for patience, He'll help you with it.
Yeah.
The outcome ain't always good, is it?
I've learned to wait upon the Lord. 22, he believeth not that he shall return out of darkness, and he is waited for the sword. He's telling Job, trying to tell Job about his insecurity and about his hopelessness. You know, this guy thinks he's got it figured out. 23, he wandereth abroad for bread, saying, where is it? He knoweth that the day of darkness is ready at his hand.
Well, in his condition, he couldn't earn his daily bread. He was in such a shape, he had to depend on somebody else to bring food to his family, I guess.
Now, this is a man that went, Brother Nicholson went from wealth, abundance of wealth, to a man in poverty.
All his family was full of idiots.
Yeah. I mean, he began to be in want. I mean, I'm telling you, son, I don't think people in the world today could go through what Job's going through. I'll be honest with you. How many wants to be like this guy here? Mm-hmm.
The church is the only organization killed or wounded.
Trouble and anguish shall make him afraid. They shall prevail against him as a king ready to battle. For he stretcheth out his hand against God and strengtheneth himself against the Almighty. He's accusing Job now. Son, you're against God. You're not for God. Never did. Verse 26, he runneth upon him, even on his neck, upon the thick bosses of his bucklers. He's been accused of being stubborn and hard-hearted. Yeah. He's fixing to relay it on him here in a minute. Because he covereth his face with his fatness, it maketh collops of fat on his flanks. Kind of like me. He's accused of just being fat and sassy. And he dwelleth in the desolate cities, and in houses which no man inhabiteth, which are ready to become heaps. He's telling me, he said, man, you hide out in places it's unfit for people to live. Well, if you was in Job's state, the way Job was in, any kind of shelter is better than nothing. You know, but that guy, he's still getting his 3 meals a day. He's still got plenty of water to drink. He's still having everybody over on the weekends to grill out and have a big time. Job ain't. It's easy for him to sit back and look at Job and tell Job all of his faults and his mistakes, because he's not going through it. Verse 29, he shall not be rich, neither shall his substance continue, neither shall he prolong the perfection thereof upon the earth.
Now, he was rich, but before this happened, and before it started losing everything, he was very wealthy man.
For a little bit, you could see him pretty much just about trying to call Job a hypocrite. You could pretty much see that coming.
And his substance, neither will his substance continue, or his family, or this he won't have no more children, and you're left alone. Just like his wife said, once you curse God and die. That's what they will do. Neither shall his substance continue, and neither shall he prolong the perfection thereof on the, and he was a perfect man. So it was.
Anybody else? Verse 30. He shall not depart out of darkness.
You ain't gonna never get no better.
The flame shall dry up his branches, and thy breath of his mouth shall he go away. He telling him, Job, son, it ain't no hope for you. Let not him that is deceived trust in vanity, for vanity shall be his recompense. Yeah.
Solomon talked about all the things. He tried it all. He said everything is bad. Every bit of it.
Every bit. It shall be accomplished before his time, and his branch shall not be green.
You're all dried up anyway, so you might as well.
You'll never have no offspring, Joe. You might as well just go ahead and throw your hands up and quit. Go ahead and confess, and go ahead and just call it quits. He shall shake off his unripe grapes as the vine, and shall cast off his flower as the olive.
Well, Jesus talked about the fig, the untimely fig.
Yeah.
When time of storm, they all fell off. You know, and I have a message I preached on that. Not here, down here, but way back, way back. The time of the untimely figs, and we're in that now, when they fall away, multitudes.
You better be getting that together then.
Only that cannot be shaken will stand. The thing that will be shaken off.
All right, be praying the Lord to let you get it. We'll turn you loose with it.
Amen.
He shall shake off his unripe grape as the vine, and shall cast off his flower as the olive. For the congregation of hypocrites shall be desolate, and fire shall consume the tabernacles of bribery. Once again, he's attacking Job's character again. Verse 35, they conceive mischief and bring forth vanity, and their belly prepareth deceit. We need to make sure that we don't stand in judgment of others.
He sat there and listening to all that, and I don't think he even was.
No.
And just let them talk. But then, I'm going to say something. You just be quiet, let me talk a while.
16, chapter 16. Then Job answered and said, then I'm going to end it right here till next week. I have heard many such things. The miserable comforters are ye all. He's like, y'all ain't got a clue, buddy. Y'all supposed to be trying to comfort me, and y'all ain't doing a thing to help me. Next week's going to get interesting. Like I said, just make sure that we're not standing in judgment of someone else. Because that judgment could come to our doorstep.